Good morning, family. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. You know, a topic that many people are afraid to talk about, and in their heart of hearts, that they know is wrong. Many people in the black community used to stand up for what was right, especially when it came to a man and a woman, when it came to family network, when it came to our spiritual groundedness, and what our belief was in a creator. And it's sad to say that in these days of times that we have lost all. It's become to almost a normalcy that a family unit now is a mother and a child, or a dad and a child, but not the two becoming the one as the family unit as that child needs. We also see that in being in a Western world, you will become and take on the habits and the ways and the mentalities of that culture, that environment, that country, that continent. And it's sad that I've seen our people, Black, African American, Negro, some even call themselves niggas, that we have nosedived into a place of immorality. It's even disheartening that we have followed suit of the Western mentality and believing that we now are something that we're not. And what is that? Well, you've already read the title. I never thought in all my years that I would see our black youth, people who were in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, decide that they are going to change their sex into the opposite because of something that they believe that they are when they're not. But I can't fault them though, because what would you expect when you're surrounded by a Western influence that constantly will tell you you can be what you want to be? Now we know the LGBT community has a powerful influence over this whole entire world. And they run and they try to conquer under the umbrella of human rights. And they've tried in many African countries trying to push that door down to get the homosexuality in Africa. But there are many countries that have shunned them away. Hats off to them. Because I know that a man and a woman become one to reproduce and create life. Now, some would say that, they believe that they are something based upon what they feel. Now, I've always said this to my brothers and sisters in the gay community, and yes, they are my brothers and sisters, that please explain and describe to me, how does it feel to be a male or female? And many have tried to attempt, but they know themselves, you can't. It's the knowing. See, when you come out of the lovely womb of your mother and your so-called anatomy will dictate on which side of the sex that you are, one should be taught and explained at a very young age of who they are. Now, I'm thankful because my mother, she taught us very young of our anatomy and the purpose of it. So there was no misunderstanding in what we believed that we were. And so that's lost though today, because one has stayed away from a subject matter of teaching their children who they are and raising them to understand that the role they play in it. And even then, that there might be feelings, there might be attractions of the opposite, but you don't ever lean to your feelings. Nothing but a warring in your flesh. And so our lovely children, because their minds are so impressionable, and that this world from what they see, what they hear, will slowly mold and transform their minds to be inquisitive. And without that guidance, such is the results. Now, we know that by the statistical data that's been shown, many of our youth who have chosen to enter into sex changes or believe that they are supposed to be with the same sex, that many of them have encountered violations or been victimized at very young ages. And they hold their secrets within. And because of those traumatic experiences, that it psychologically has played effects on them to want to stay away from the opposite and just remain in with the same. Now, I know that this is a hard topic for many, and many are not going to believe. But I've had many conversations with our brothers and sisters who have been victimized, violated. Oh, I have many, and I've dealt with the children. I've coached them. I've taught them in the school systems. Yes, it's true that many are struggling within themselves of what they think they are, what they are attracted to, and they surrender and submit to those. Now, I know there used to be an old saying from my mom, is that, just because you feel like doing something don't mean you should do it. And just because you're attracted to it don't mean that you have to have it. Isn't that true? But I'm watching the Black culture in America transforming rapidly, where now it's become so accepted that now our youth are changing themselves on the outside. And many of the elders have become very complacent, quiet, remaining silent, that I like to call the silent generation. Because these children are having parents who are only 12, 13 on up, age older than them. How can a youth teach a youth? We have grandparents right now in their 30s, early 30s. How can they teach when they have yet to fully go through the life of understanding? Now, I know some of you all say, who am I to judge and all that right there? But you know what? It has been given us as a people to rightfully judge. I can call what is that. There's nothing that can change what truth is, because knowing thyself first and foremost is your educational compass. Everything starts from there. And because there's been a lack of teaching from parents to their children and believe the Western way that allow a child to choose however which way they want, we've fallen into that. Now, the Western European world and the mentality, their culture has stemmed 1,000 years, showing that homosexuality was a way of life. It's in their poems, it's in their writings, it's in their sculptures, paintings and all. If you would just take a trip over into these European worlds, it still exists today in their buildings. You can see the sculptures, the statues, the poems, that it was glorified that a man's and a boy together was the greatest achievement a man could have, or a man with a beast. This is what we've become. We've taken on those who the environment, country that we live in, mentality. And many of us have remained quiet and say nothing. And because you have a loved one who has chosen to turn the other route, you remain quiet and you say nothing. Now, nothing, you have not heard a hate in my mouth. I believe everybody is loved, should be loved. And I don't have to have biases and prejudice against anybody who want to go the other way. But I can also share with them that it is not the right way. This way of life now that has become so accepted is destroying the fabric of a people in America, the Black community. Now, we want to sit here and typically have conversations on the surface of things, of the tangible things of what's going on in America, the inequalities, the cop killings, the injustice of imprisonments of blacks and all right there. But nobody wants to talk about the spiritual. Nobody wants to talk about how we now have lost our foundation of spirituality. There was a day that we used to have a respect for one another, a love for one another. There was those that actually had a spirituality. Now, I'm not talking about religion, but who had a concrete relationship with a creator. But because we live in the Western world, we follow suit of what they do and say. As they become more liberal and avail you liberties, you fall into that and become them. Isn't that true? Now we are faced with our beautiful children who are the future, and nothing but an indication of how a community, a people will become is to measure the youth. The youth is lost and confused because there is no concrete line in what is right and what is wrong. It's been written in ancient writings that right will become wrong and wrong will become right. That's the amazing thing that I find, that many people scoff at that ancient writings. And I call them ancient writings. You can call them scrolls. You can call them scriptures. You can call it Bible, Quran. You can call it laws of the land. You can call it the Ma'at. You can call it whatever you want. It was all taken out of one place anyway. But this was something that the man thousands of years ago had a spiritual discernment to be able to read a people and to be able to forecast the things to come. Now listen to this right here. This is something that is quite interesting, that in the writings they will foretell futures of how man would become. Now listen to this, and does this sound familiar? All right? Because this ain't about religion. This ain't about pushing nothing on anybody. This is just about listening about writers thousands of years ago had the intuition, had the vision of things to come. Now it says right here, it says, for therein, here's the righteousness of the Creator, revealing from faith to faith. As it is written, the just shall live by faith. And the justice is somebody who's decided they want to walk a line outside of the masses, what they're telling you, trying to pull you over here with the masses in the wrong thinking, of what should be. Those who wants to change the real idea of really who you are and how life really is supposed to be. Who are you listening to? Because this says this is for the just, who shall live by the faith, the belief of what has been already created is. And those are going to kind of try to come in and change it. It says, for the judgment of God or wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all the wrongdoings and all the wicked, evil men who hold the truth in wrongness. These are people who hold things in the wrong, unrighteousness side of the house. It says this right here. Now check this out. Because that which may be known of God is manifested in them, for God has showed it unto them. There is no excuse for anyone. All men has had the so-called awaken of that there is something out there greater than themselves. Now, whether or not you shun it away and don't have disbelief and all right there, the question has always remained: how have I gotten here? And how did all of this come about? But it says it right here, and I'm going to get to the part that we're talking about. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. What you see is what has been manifested out of what the Creator in you have put together. Being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and the Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Now, I know it makes reference to he and Godheads and stuff that really scares people. But let me just keep it simple, okay? Is that this Creator, right, has revealed things through your eyes that you see that we have created and made. Because that when they knew the Creator, see, there was a time that we knew the Creator, believed in the Creator, had faith in the Creator. They glorified the Creator not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in the imaginations, and their foolish hearts were darkened. The times changed. But there was a day that they did believe, and it came to the time that they stopped believing. Now, we do know when you have a belief system that there's one greater than you act a little differently. It's like when your parents are around, you act and behave certain ways, but then when they leave, you behave differently. You know the old saying, when the cats are away, the mice will play. You see, it's got to regurgitate all that information, but isn't it true? When one feels accountable to something greater than themselves, they will behave and act differently. But the day came when people left that alone. Now here we go. Because what happens now when you now live for self and believe that you have the right way of thinking and think you have know all, that you will turn out to be professing to yourself to be wise, but yet you'll become a fool and change the glory of the uncorruptible. You will even try to change the mindset of the youth. You would try to change the mindset of people. That's how the world is. But then also you would try to change the uncorruptible Creator into an image made like the corruptible man. Isn't that true? We see pictures and, chains with supposedly, the Creator and of this Yeshua that they say, and change it into images. And you change them in images that are even go as far as giving the power into the birds and into the beasts and creepy things, that you will give more power in worshiping them. Now, here it is. Whenever you now have released and let go and taken it out of your life, the Creator and the belief, because y'all sitting, those non-believers, your parents were actually either fed into you this, or they themselves didn't believe what passed it on to you in your non-belief. Or they were a bad example that you saw, that you detested, and you decided, I'm not following that mess, because they themselves were hypocritical. But listen to this, hold on to your seats. These were type of people who would change the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creatures more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. See, there are people who can corrupt and turn the Creator into a lie. They can pimp the scriptures, the words, they can change them up, and you yourself haven't even dived into it to see what they're saying, is it true or not. But we watch their behaviors and we say that is a lie then. Instead of saying, no, they are the corrupt, but where is the truth? Isn't that true? We run away from things because of the behaviors of men. And the very thing that they may be in might be the truth, but because of the behaviors, they've corrupted it. And so you say, I don't want to be in that, all based upon the corrupt, evil minds of men. But this is what it says. Because of this and what they've done and created these images, called and created a God to be a lie, God gave them up to vile affections. Vile affections. Now we talk about the attractions and the feelings that one have that believe they are male, female, or of the same sex that they have engaged in. These are the vile affections that you have been given up to. For even their women did change their natural use into that which is against nature. Don't we see that today? Women are using their bodies for things that aren't even natural. And likewise, also men, leaving the natural use of the woman. Burn in their lust one towards another. Men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met. Now, what does that mean? How a woman can leave her natural use into which is against nature, and loving on another the same like woman, and man turning his affections unto another man, doing things that had never been done before, unseemingly, unnatural, laying with beast. The creation or the creating the things to put in your bodies or to get sexual satisfaction out of all these corrupt, evil things that man has created, that you bring into your bedrooms and all. This is where we are today. This is why our youth are the way they are. This is why we even see the grown adults who have even changed their own mindset from righteousness and have accepted a way of life. Women with women, men with men. This is thousands and thousands of years ago. This right here has been written. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Now, I'm just going to keep this short, family. You can believe that or not. But the one thing you can believe is looking at what is transpiring, how it used to be and how it is now. Now you can be able to tell whether or not there is truth in that. So I say, for those who are stuck in a Western world, that you see it's overtaking your families, it's corrupting, whether it's your children or your children's children, and you see that it's causing a devastation of trying to fight keeping your child on that right path and instead of the path that is broad, you may want to rethink where you live and find another. Now, there's no perfect world out here, and it's all getting worse. But Africa is still a young virgin. And yes, the Western world is fighting to overtake her. And the music and the videos that they so aspire to want to be like the Western world. Africa still is a virgin. She hasn't whored herself around, not like America or the Europeans or China or any other countries out here. But what Africa has done, it is still in its infant state. And it's trying to be overtaken by the outside forces coming in with the human rights, pushing the LGBT agenda. But talk to your youth. At a very young age, the ones and twos, to let them know thyself and to let them know who they are. First, physically, to get what the opposite, to create life. Second would be the spirituality. The spirit that reigns within them is greater than themselves. And with that, family, without belaboring the issue or even going any further, this is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa.